here we have the stairway to nowhere. Some people like to call it the stairway to heaven. Stairway just goes right up into the ceiling and stops.
Yeah.
Back during Prohibition there used to be a trap door at the top of the steps. When the place would get raided, they'd come down through the trap door, down the steps, out through the basement, and get away. In reverse, they would bring the illegal alcohol up the river, into the basement, up the steps, and everybody got pretty well plastered. The door's been long since sealed off, but if you were still able to go up through there right now, you'd be surprising a lot of guys with their private stuff.
Oh, is that the John?
Because you'd end up in the middle of the men's restroom. But back in the day, it was the main offices over here. And the security office was here, so they would bring the people down the steps that they were going to take to the back room to take care of business with, without anybody actually seeing them being taken out.
That'd be a good way.
Then over here we have the well, what they call the gateway to hell.
Yep.
It has been capped. It has been capped, one, for safety reasons, two, to keep the river from flooding up into the basement, and three, to keep people out because the tunnel at the bottom of the well still is open out to the river.
Down to Licking.
But it is a 14-foot drop straight down underneath that cap.
Wow. I didn't realize it was that deep.
Now back in 1896, there was a woman by the name of Pearl Bryan. She was the daughter of a rich farmer from Indiana. She met a man named Scott Jackson and ended up getting pregnant by him. When she was 5 months pregnant, he talked her into coming down to Cincinnati and getting an abortion. For some strange reason, they couldn't get the abortion to take place, so Scott Jackson and his best friend Alonzo Wally figured, since they were dental students, they would try to do the abortion themselves using their dental tools.
That's the one that we were talking about.
Needless to say, that didn't go over too well. They botched it up so bad that she ended up bleeding profusely and screaming and hollering in so much pain. They knew she wasn't going to make it, so they ended up killing her by cutting her head off.
Yeah, cutting her
Now,
head.
they did find her headless body about a mile up the road in an empty field. The only reason they were able to identify who she was is since she was from a rich family, she had customized shoes made. And the company that made the shoes put a logo and a serial number in every pair, so they tracked it that way. Now, the whole time they had them incarcerated, because they did arrest them, the whole time they had them incarcerated, they kept asking what they did with the head, and they wouldn't tell them. Even the day they were up on the gallows with the noose around their neck, they said, we'll give you leniency if you just tell us where the head is. They said he couldn't do it, because if he did, it would bring the wrath of Satan down on him. So with those words being said, the fact of what went on at this well was satanic ritualing, and they themselves had ties to devil worshiping. They believe they threw the head down into the well as an offering.
That's what I had heard, yeah.
During one of their ceremonies.
Now, didn't they hang those guys right across, or right next to the building here?
No, it was actually down in the courthouse.
Or was it Newport?
Campbell County. It was actually the last public hanging in Campbell County.
Oh, okay.
Now, they found the body in March. They hung him a year later in the end of, or I'm sorry, I apologize. They found the body in February, and they hung him a year later in March. So if the head had been thrown down into the well, it would have been washed out from one of the spring floods.
Yeah.
But the head has not been ever been found. Now, Bobby bought the place back in '78 when his wife was upstairs in the apartment cleaning up there and straightening it up. While she was up there, something grabbed her, shoved her to the steps, and actually shoved her down the steps. She too was 5 months pregnant at the time. So you can kind of see the pattern of all the women being 5 months. But luckily she was okay, and the baby was okay. We also had a woman take a tour 2 years ago. She was pregnant. And all through the tour she kept saying, it's all stories, it's all lies, it's all bull crap. I'm pregnant, nothing's going to happen. She just kept going on and on and on. Well, that night she went home. The next night her best friend come back in and said as soon as she got home, they had to rush her to the hospital, and she ended up miscarrying her baby.
Oh boy! So she provoked.
She provoked, and
oh my God.
Yeah, it could have been the spirits getting even.